The unexpected enemy. The War Council sat in the Grand Chamber, their faces etched with a mix of apprehension and resolve. The head council member, a towering figure with deep-set eyes, scanned the room before pressing a button on their datapod. A holographic projection flickered to life, revealing the somber face of the head squadron commander of the 7th Legion, representing an alien species known for their strength and resilience. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation as the council members watched in silence. The commander's voice was deep and gravelly, as if every word carried the weight of 1,000 battles. "Honored members of the High Council, I bring you vital information on the humans," he began. "Yesterday, we launched what was meant to be the final attack on the human colony of New Rome, located on the distant planet of Astral Lunal 7. The outcome was unexpected." A murmur spread through the council. The commander's pause was unnerving, and his tone suggested a tale far different from the expected triumphant report. "We believe the humans to be weak," the commander continued. "Their physical capabilities are far inferior to ours. They are small, fragile, and prone to sickness. Yet, in the battle, they demonstrated something we had not anticipated, a sheer, unyielding fury that turned the tide in their favor." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. The idea that humans, a species they had long considered insignificant, could pose a real threat was unsettling. The commander leaned forward, his gaze intense. The humans fought with a ferocity that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. They adapted quickly, learning from every skirmish. By the time we engaged in the final battle, they had become formidable opponents. We won, but at a cost far greater than we ever imagined. The room fell silent, the weight of the commander's words sinking in. For the first time, the council was forced to consider the possibility that they had underestimated their enemy. The commander's report was far from over, and as he continued, the council members braced themselves for the revelations to come. The Battle of New Rome. The video played on, showing the final moments of the battle on New Rome. The alien forces, vastly superior in strength and numbers, had surrounded the human colony. Victory seemed certain, but as the humans prepared for their last stand, something shifted. They refused to surrender, their resolve hardening into something almost palpable. The commander narrated the events as they unfolded on the screen. The humans knew they were outmatched, yet they fought with everything they had. They used every weapon, every tool at their disposal. They turned their environment into a weapon, using the terrain to their advantage. They were relentless, refusing to give up even when all seemed lost. The council watched in stunned silence as the footage showed humans fighting back against impossible odds. They were smaller, weaker, but their determination made them dangerous. They had learned from each encounter, adapting their strategies, improving their tactics, and finding ways to exploit the weaknesses of their enemy. One moment in the battle stood out. A female human, wounded and weaponless, facing off against one of the alien commanders. She should have been an easy target, but instead, she fought with a ferocity that left even the seasoned warriors in awe. She disarmed the commander, using her bare hands to overpower an enemy twice her size. It was a moment that would be etched into the memories of all who witnessed it. She was dying, yet she did not stop, the commander said, his voice filled with a mix of respect and disbelief. She knew she was going to die, but she used her last moments to take down one of our best. She forced a grenade down his throat, sacrificing herself to ensure he did not survive. The council members were shaken. This was not the enemy they had expected. The humans were not just fighting to survive. They were fighting to win, and they were willing to do whatever it took. The Battle of New Rome was a turning point, and the council knew that they could no longer underestimate the humans. The aftermath. The aftermath of the battle was a grim sight. The once thriving colony of New Rome was in ruins, its buildings reduced to rubble, and its people scattered. The alien forces had won, but it was a hollow victory. The losses they had suffered were immense, far greater than anticipated. The humans had fought with a desperation born of the knowledge that they had nothing left to lose. The council members listened as the commander detailed the extent of the damage. "We lost many of our own," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "The humans inflicted casualties that we never expected. They fought with a cunning and ruthlessness that caught us off guard. They turned their weaknesses into strengths, using their smaller size and agility to outmaneuver us." The commander paused, his expression grim. "We have underestimated them, and it has cost us dearly. The humans are not the easy prey we thought they were. They are survivors, and they will fight to the last breath. We must prepare for the possibility that this war will be longer and more difficult than we anticipated." The council was silent, each member lost in their thoughts. The commander's words had shattered their confidence, leaving them uncertain of the future. The humans had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, and the council knew that they could not afford to make the same mistake again. They would need to rethink their strategies, adapt to this new reality, and find a way to outmatch an enemy that refused to be defeated. The human spirit. In the days that followed the battle, the council delved deeper into their understanding of humanity. They had seen the physical evidence of the human strength and resilience, but they had yet to grasp the full extent of their spirit. The commander, still shaken by the events on New Rome, began to study the humans more closely, seeking to understand what drove them to fight so fiercely. "They are unlike any species we have encountered," the commander reported. "Their strength does not come from their bodies, but from their minds. They possess a willpower that is unmatched, a determination that drives them to push beyond their limits. They fight not just for survival, but for something greater, for their families, their homes, their very way of life." The council listened intently, trying to comprehend what made the humans so formidable. The commander continued, "Their culture is one of constant adaptation and innovation. They are never satisfied with the status quo. They are always striving to improve, to find new ways to overcome the challenges they face. It is this mindset that makes them so dangerous. They learn quickly, and they are not afraid to take risks." The commander's words painted a picture of a species that was both resilient and relentless. The humans had shown that they could not be easily defeated, and the council knew that they would need to approach the conflict with a new level of respect and caution. The human spirit was a force to be reckoned with, and it would take more than brute strength to overcome it. A new strategy. Faced with the reality of the human threat, the council convened to develop a new strategy. The previous approach had failed, and it was clear that they could no longer rely on their superior strength alone. They needed to understand their enemy better, to anticipate their moves, and to outthink them. The commander took the lead, sharing insights gained from studying human behavior and tactics. "We cannot afford to underestimate them again," he said. "They are resourceful and unpredictable. We must be prepared for anything. We need to adapt our strategies, to think like they do. We must be willing to change, to evolve, just as they have." The council debated various strategies, considering how best to counter the human threat. Some argued for overwhelming force, others for a more calculated approach. The commander, however, insisted that they needed to think outside the box. "We must be creative," he urged. "The humans are masters of improvisation. We need to be just as flexible, just as willing to take risks." In the end, the council agreed to a new approach, one that combined their strengths with the humans' adaptability. They would no longer rely solely on brute force. Instead, they would use strategy, deception, and innovation to outmaneuver their enemy. It was a bold plan, and the council knew that it would require careful execution. But they were determined to win this war, and they were willing to do whatever it took. The final confrontation. The stage was set for the final confrontation between the alien forces and the humans. Both sides had learned from their previous encounters, and both were determined to emerge victorious. The humans, battered but unbroken, had rallied their forces, preparing for one last stand. The aliens, now fully aware of the threat they faced, approached the battle with a new level of caution and respect. The battle was fierce and unrelenting, with both sides pushing their limits. The humans fought with a fury that seemed to defy all logic, their determination driving them to perform feats of strength and bravery that left even their enemies in awe. The aliens, meanwhile, employed their new strategies, using deception and cunning to try and outmaneuver the humans. As the battle raged on, it became clear that this was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for the future. The humans knew that if they lost, their way of life would be destroyed. The aliens, on the other hand, were fighting to prove their dominance, to show that they were the superior species. In the end, it was the human spirit that proved to be the deciding factor. Despite the odds, despite the losses they had suffered, they refused to give up. They fought with everything they had, using every ounce of strength and cunning to outmatch their enemy. And in the end, it was their determination that won the day. The aftermath and the future. The battle was over, but the war was far from won. The humans had emerged victorious, but at a great cost. Their colony was in ruins, their people exhausted and battered, but they had proven that they were not to be underestimated, that they were a force to be reckoned with. The aliens, meanwhile, were forced to retreat, licking their wounds and regrouping. They had learned a valuable lesson, one that they would not soon forget. The humans were not the weak, insignificant species they had once believed them to be. They were survivors, fighters, and they would not go down without a fight. As the humans began to rebuild, they knew that the war was not over. But they also knew that they had what it took to survive, to thrive, and to overcome any challenge that came their way. The battle had been won, but the future was still uncertain. The humans, however, were ready for whatever came next. They had faced the fury of their enemies, and they had unleashed a fury of their own. And they knew that as long as they stood together, they would always find a way to prevail.